I guess. Hello everyone, I'm Ryan. I'm here with Dylan Jones, owner of, is it Avis?
Yeah, Avis Design.
Avis Design, out here in Santa Barbara. So why don't we go ahead and just start with telling me a little bit about Avis Design and kind of what they do and a little bit about it.
So the business is started off as a engineering consulting business. My background is mechanical engineering. It was a service-based business to provide consulting service, design, engineering, manufacturing services to local companies. It evolved into doing more of my own products and then also helping companies make products. So, and then from now we've added on other services as well.
Cool, very cool. So what was kind of like that driving force that kind of got you interested in starting your own business?
Well, as an engineer, I've always liked making things, designing things. I've always had ideas about how to improve products, how to make widgets to make things my life easier. So I've had that passion. What was really the kick in the pants was, it started with, I actually got laid off of an engineering job that I was at for about 5 years, and that was a reality check that maybe I needed to have some other plans out there. So I went back to grad school, I got my MBA, and that really expanded my horizon of kind of the opportunities that were out there. I went back to work for the same company only to find out that they wanted me to essentially retrain a replacement for my job in Thailand. I took the job because it allowed me to go to Thailand for off and on for 2 years, which was a neat experience in itself. Eventually the company relocated, and then that's when I started this company.
Cool. What were some of kind of like the challenges of starting your own business and stuff like that?
Well, I started the business in 2008, and at that time, growing a business was a little bit different than it is now. There wasn't the social media tools, there wasn't the internet marketing tools. I was actually still getting on the phone and cold calling companies, looking for work. I was doing a lot of word of mouth, a lot of local references. I was going to machine shops, I was going through friends and just trying to get leads on potential gigs. I think that was difficult in its own way because you literally had to just hustle to try to find work. Today, the game has changed quite a bit with Facebook and Instagram marketing. You can really advertise to a broader audience.
So like, how did you kind of overcome adapting in that environment where there wasn't really a lot of social media and stuff to help you get your marketing out?
I've always been, I felt very open networking with anyone possible. So that would include like local business development meetings, local Rotary meetings, local business owners. I would volunteer on anything from race car projects that people were building, and that really led to building relationships with more companies that were interested in hiring me once they saw that I had some skills to offer them.
So this is just really a lot of putting yourself out there.
Yeah, really just putting yourself out there, not being open-minded to where opportunities may lay, and I think recognizing those opportunities and jumping on them when they do happen.
Cool. So what was kind of that defining moment for you where you kind of consider yourself a success and your business successful?
Well, I'd say that it happened in 2 steps. From there was a point financially where I realized I didn't need to go to my 8 to 5 job anymore, that I was making enough money to pay my rent, pay my bills, and I was gonna be able to keep the lights on and put food in my fridge. So that was sort of the first hump. And then after that, there was several years of hustling where I was the only one. I was doing everything from the bookkeeping to the invoicing to the billing to the work itself. Now where I really see that successful transition happening was now that I've hired employees and built a team, I'm more driven by quality of life, as you can see here, rather than financial means. So now that I can take time off, travel a little bit more, go on trips with my wife, and I know that there's a team representing me that I can trust to carry on the business on its own, that's really where I see the success happening.
Cool. So if you could kind of sum up in 1 or 2 words, like what it took to, become a success, what would you make those 1 or 2 words out to be?
So, sort of a motto that I've always had is, I've almost thought about getting a tattoo of it, is don't panic, because things are not always going to go as planned, and being able to pivot or recognize an opportunity where maybe an unexpected disaster sprung up is critical. And that's how my business has pivoted several times, to where initially I was doing engineering services. I realized there was a lot of liability in that. If something was to go wrong, I didn't want to design a crane part that failed, and I thought, maybe I'm better off doing the manufacturing, and I enjoy manufacturing, so I switched to that. And now manufacturing has been very commoditized by companies like Alibaba and Kickstarter, so now I'm doing more consulting work and working with companies that are trying to start their own manufacturing.
So you kind of found your place in your company where you like to be and just stuck with it and let everything else
found my place and just found our niche where we have served our customers has evolved and moved, where as those industries have become more ubiquitous and easier for the customers to do on their own, we find other challenges that we can help people with.
Cool. So what kind of advice would you have for like a young entrepreneur who's who is aspiring to start their own business?
I would say be open-minded as to where this business may take you. Just like with any career, you might have one concept and you don't want to be too stubbornly determined to just follow that singular idea, because you're going to find other opportunities where that idea can grow or morph or pivot or evolve into something else.
So being open-minded is a pretty key factor.
Yeah, I started with a very simple business plan, and I actually wrote a business plan 10 years ago of what this business was going to be. And it essentially started as that, but it's evolved to something very different, kind of based on the opportunities that came along. So I would say
be dynamic, I guess.
Be dynamic. Kind of take the shotgun approach, where you're gonna try a lot of things, see what hits, and then focus in on those.
Cool. Well, yeah. Thanks again for coming out and doing this. That's awesome. Really good.